Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 23rd edition of ETV News. I'm Kaylee Roberts.
And I'm Nicholas Walsh. Thank you for joining us.
This Wednesday, Eastern's Campus Activity Board hosted a pop-up movie night in the Student Center Theater. Students who attended were treated to a showing of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, one of Marvel Studios' newest films. CAB plans on hosting a pop-up movie event like this once a month, with movies decided by a monthly theme or by student vote. To keep up to date with CAB and their events, check out their Instagram or the CAB calendars posted in every residence hall. CAB's next event will be De-Stress with CAB, hosted on March 2nd. Stay tuned for more details from the Campus Activity Board.
International Mother Language Day was celebrated this past Tuesday and served as a great opportunity for students to both share their culture as well as learn a new one. Reporter Samuel Perez Lopez brings us more on the event.
State University Student Center for the celebration of International Mother Language Day. Let's have a look. On Tuesday, February 21st, the Computer Science and World Language Departments, the Office of Equity and Diversity, the Intercultural Center, and the library came together to bring us a celebration of International Mother Language Day. International Mother Language Day is a worldwide annual observance that promotes awareness for linguistic, cultural, and multilingual diversity. The event offered different interactive activities in which Eastern students could participate.
So we have a little bit of information, we have some trivia, we have some resources, we have great interviews that have been done by the World Language Department for the past couple of weeks, and also students and faculty and staff can also do interviews right now.
International Mother Language Day first began as a movement following the departure of the British in India, fighting for the right of the majority to speak Bangla, the language that was commonly spoken. The event at Eastern aimed to further emphasize the importance of the day and recognize the diversity held at Eastern.
National Mother Language Day, I think, is really important because it allows people to see how many different languages are actually spoken at Eastern and like how many different backgrounds actually people come from. So it actually gives us a sense of like how different we are and how we can come together by learning through these different backgrounds and cultures as well.
Mother Language Day is, a worldwide event, and I think the importance is that we don't lose these languages that are so important to our heritage and who we are as people. So I hope that students just learn that, there's so many different cultures on campus, so many different people, that they get a sense of community and awareness. I'm just hoping that students are able to build up that awareness towards each other and different cultures all around the world. So really just this event is all about creating awareness and making sure folks know about different languages that our community holds.
What an informative event. For ETV News, yo soy Samuel Lopez with Danny Sylvester behind the camera. Back to you guys.
The Women's Center held a paint and sip event this week, providing students who attended a fun and social time with their peers. The event had light snacks and sparkling refreshments, as well as an array of strings, flowers, and other materials students could use to decorate mason jars. Star Shamar Byram, director of the Women's Center, said that the staff's goal is to create a lovely and comfortable place that, quote, affirms and honors the experiences of women and supports justice and equality for all, unquote. The Women's Center is located in Student Center Room 116. Interested in events like this? You can find this Women's Center on Instagram for this and more at Eastern_WC.
Amongst the many clubs and organizations students are able to join on campus, one that sticks out to many is Radio Club. Radio Club helps out with the WECS radio station here on campus and is a fun way for many students to host their own shows. Reporter Jason Saloy has more on the story.
This week on ETV News, we wanted to showcase the WECS Radio Club. We sat down with club president Samuel Lopez to get into more detail about the club.
So WECS Radio Club is a club where essentially, like-minded people who just enjoy listening to music and talking about anything and everything that will appear on the radio can kind of come together and just talk and have a good time. I know this semester we are essentially working towards having our very own Radio Club radio show, and so we are recently starting that up.
We talked to some fellow e-board members on how they got into the radio scene and why they joined the club.
Well, when I first applied or looking for universities, I was pleased by the prospect of running a radio show. So when I got accepted to Eastern Connecticut State University, I was excited, and I decided, hey, I want to join the radio club. I want to learn a little bit more about radio. That way I can find a way to incorporate what I like about music and like sharing that experience with people. That just seemed like a really appealing idea to me.
As a fellow member of the club, I explained why I joined the club, and I also asked other members why they joined.
I heard it was a group of like-minded people who talk about music, who talk about radio, who talk about the industry and things that are going on in that scene, and who share music together. And I thought that sounded like a perfect opportunity to meet some people who were just like me, and I turned out to be right.
The one thing I like about Radio Club is that I get to meet a lot of new people that have like a similar music taste to me, or just people that have like different tastes in music and everything, and it's just a cool place to hang out with people and just vibe pretty much.
We actually just had our meeting to kind of rehearse and go through how that is going to look for our very first show. But essentially, we do all sorts of fun activities that are radio related, and we just have a good time and vibe.
WECS Radio Club has many events coming up, such as Willie Stock and Media Day coming up very shortly. I'm Jason Sloy reporting for ETV News. It was Samuel Lopez behind the camera. Back to the studio.
The Office of Career Success held an etiquette luncheon this past Wednesday. Hosted in the J. Eugene Smith Library, students had the opportunity to meet with employers from 11 different companies. Students were also given tips for networking and learned proper etiquette while enjoying a catered lunch. Be on the lookout for future events like these and more from this awesome campus resource.
Looking for something fun to do? Be sure to check out the student-run production of The Nether, a show by Jennifer Haley. This thrilling and immersive experience will have you on the edge of your seat begging for more. The Nether will run from March 2nd to the 5th at 5:30 p.m. in the Fine Arts Theater. Tickets are free for Eastern students, $5 for other students, $10 for senior citizens, $12 for Eastern faculty and staff, and $20 for the general public. You can reserve tickets by heading over to the Eastern website or by calling the box office at 860-465-5123.
Up next, ETV President Lexi Nimitz joins us for this week's one-on-one. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Thanks for hearing me out, bro.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie. How sketches, ready? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You didn't even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Welcome back. Lexi Nimitz sits down with Eastern's new head baseball coach, Mike Oldenwalder. Let's take a look.
And welcome to this week's edition of One-on-One. My name is Lexi Nimitz, and tonight I am joined by Eastern's baseball coach, Mike Oldenwalder. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So this is your first season here at Eastern, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit of your past experience and maybe what led you to Eastern today?
Sure. So my playing career did my undergrad at Amherst College up in Massachusetts, another Division III institution. After that, was fortunate enough to get drafted and play some professional baseball in the Baltimore Orioles organization. When I finished up that career, I came back, finished up my degree at Amherst, and then hopped on the coaching staff immediately after that. Was at Amherst for about 5 years thereafter. I was also finishing a master's degree at UMass as the hitting coach and recruiting coordinator up there. And after that, got a job up at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, where I was the hitting coach for the year last year, and ended up applying for the job at Eastern this summer. And the rest is history from there. I grew up in Connecticut, so it was good to kind of get back close to home. Had always known Eastern. I actually had a prior relationship with the previous head coach, Coach Ham. I actually played for him in college and then coached a year under him when he was up at Amherst. So that was a happy coincidence in this entire circumstance. And like I said, the rest was history after I got the job in August now.
Wow. Are you excited to be taking on this new position here?
Of course, of course. It's a unique situation to be in, obviously, coming off the title last year, but it's better than the alternative, right? But it's a joy, like I said, to get back home. My wife and I moved down. We're living in Colchester, which is about 20 minutes away. We're closer to both of our families. And just the community here at Eastern has been really welcoming and very tight-knit, and that has been kind of the most pleasant surprise in the transition here from the previous schools that I was at. The school spirit is tremendous here. Everybody on campus seems to rally around everybody else both in terms of athletics, but the general student body. Like I said, just a great community to be involved in.
That's awesome. So how are you planning on taking your past coaching experience and applying that to teaching your new team here at Eastern?
Yeah, so was definitely fortunate to be involved in some really good programs previous to this, but also learned from some very good coaches along the way too. So I'll take bits and pieces from prior bosses or coaches that I've had throughout my career, take what I think is applicable for my coaching style and my type of mentality, but also try and bring in some different variables. For example, I was working in Division I last year, taking some things recruiting-wise that I learned from that program, but also taking some things from a technology standpoint too is something that we are diving into a little bit more here at Eastern to help give us an edge on the competition, dig a little deeper into the analytics. We're fortunate enough to have a couple of managers, and we have tremendous buy-in from our players as well with some of that stuff too. So I would say more from a recruiting standpoint, and then a strict X's and O's standpoint. I think I'm going to be bringing in some new stuff that maybe some of these players haven't seen as much of in the past.
That's great. That sounds like you have a nice focused plan for the season, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out for you. So we mentioned earlier that the Eastern baseball team just won the NCAA Division III championships last year. Are you nervous to be taking on a team after such a big win like that, or do you feel confident you'll be able to take the team back to that sort of standard again this year?
More excited is probably a better term. Sure, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure there, but that's not pressure that my players aren't feeling as well, right? This is a program with a rich history and tradition, 5 total national titles, right? So the standard is extremely high. The expectation is extremely high. Certainly we lost a lot of talent from the team last year, but we have a lot of talent returning. We have some new talent coming in. So I'm hoping that some players can step up and step in to fill some big shoes. And the goal year in and year out is going to be competing on that national level and competing on that championship level. And that's exactly where we hope to be come at the end of the season.
That's great. And so what are you looking forward to this year most? Is there anything in particular?
That's a good question. I think probably comes back to my thoughts on being at a place like Eastern and being in this great community, developing some of the relationships around the athletic department and on campus have been a pleasure. So honestly, I'm looking forward to getting out there and competing. I know my players are really looking forward to getting out there and competing. So I think getting on the field, and hopefully we continue with this warm weather, this nice weather, specifically through the start of this season, so that we can kind of hit the ground running here. But yeah, getting out there on the field is number one, and I think that if you ask any of my players, that's what they're most excited about as well.
That's awesome. It sounds like you guys have already built a nice community amongst yourselves, and we look forward to see what's going next for the team.
Yeah, likewise, I'm ready to go.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me tonight, Coach.
Thanks for having me on.
Everybody at ETV wishes you best of luck for your first season here, and we are looking forward to see how the team does.
Appreciate it. So do I.
So thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight here on One-on-One. My name is Lexi Nimitz. Kaylee, Nicholas, back to you.
Thank you, Lexi and Coach Odenwalder. Up next, spring break travel information, a new Spotify DJ, and the return of a classic sweet treat. Be sure to stick with us for this and more after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
The countdown to spring break has officially begun and we are only 15 days out. With this being said, many of you might plan on traveling but have been deterred by the skyrocketing airfare prices. Lead economist Haley Berg from the travel agency Hopper says that airfare prices are 20% higher than they were at this time last year. However, there is no need to worry, warriors, because Berg has some tips that will get you to your final destination. She recommends flying out on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday if you are traveling abroad, saving you around $150 per ticket. She strongly opposes flying on a weekend since those flights tend to be the priciest. It is also recommended to monitor the cost of each flight by checking what airline it is as well as the time it flies out. The clock is ticking, so it's time to start booking those flights. After all, who wouldn't want to save a little money and still get to travel?
The Ohio Department of Health has taken action to establish a medical clinic in East Palestine, Ohio, just after a train holding toxic chemicals derailed on February 3rd. Many residents, however, are leaving the clinic more frustrated than they came in. Local Ted Murphy expresses his dissatisfaction by saying, quote, "I want to know what I sucked in, and I thought that's what I was coming for here today. To do a chemical test, and you get results," unquote. Murphy and others who only received an evaluation were not content with their treatment. Although the reasoning behind the clinic had pure intentions, there is a very large disconnect between medical experts and residents, as the effects of this toxic spill are still largely unknown. The Center for Disease Control is also sending a team to East Palestine, bringing registered nurses, mental health specialists, and toxicologists with them in the coming days.
With AI, also known as artificial intelligence, taking over our world, many wonder how it will affect our day-to-day lives. Well, for Spotify users, there's good news. The company has created a personalized voice DJ powered by AI that knows both you and your music taste very well. This DJ has the ability to choose what to play for you and will even provide commentary about the songs and artists in a very realistic voice. The purpose of this experience, according to Spotify, is to, quote, "deliver the right piece of music for that exact moment in time," unquote. This new technological development comes from the use of OpenAI technology, something that is already on the rise with other AI softwares, such as the all-purpose website ChatGPT. Many people are skeptical of what OpenAI has to offer, but this just seems to be one of its many capabilities. The DJ is available for use today for all Spotify Premium members. Just open the app, hit play on the DJ card, and rock out.
Just when you think the weather can't get any crazier, it can. Over 65 million people in 29 states are awaiting the arrival of a 3-day-long winter storm. This weather event will bring snow to places like Maine and even California. The upper Midwest region of the U.S. is expected to receive the most snowfall, with estimates coming in at a record-breaking 2 feet. According to the National Weather Service, wind gusts will reach up to a whopping 50 miles per hour. As of right now, over 2 million people were put under blizzard warnings in places like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. Over in California, powerful winds have shut down power to more than 140 homes. Not to mention, hundreds of flights across the nation have been canceled starting yesterday morning.
February 24th officially marks 1 year since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This historic and saddening event is still occurring at full force. President Joe Biden just recently finished up his tour in Europe, reaffirming the United States' support for Ukraine, whereas Vladimir Putin has strengthened ties with China, creating an even deeper divide between nations. United States Secretary General Antonio Guterres has denounced Russia's invasion, calling it a violation of international law after Russia hinted at the use of nuclear weapons, saying, quote, "The so-called tactical use of nuclear weapons is utterly unacceptable. It is high time to step back from the brink," unquote. As the 1 year mark approaches, the stakes are becoming much higher.
The beloved Shamrock Shake has finally returned to McDonald's just in time for St. Patrick's Day. This delicious treat originally made its debut in 1970 and has stuck around ever since, even releasing a second version that includes crushed Oreo cookies in 2020. Both versions of the shake are available at participating McDonald's restaurants across the nation. Be sure to grab yours now because they will only be around while supplies last. After all, don't want to miss out on the luck of the Irish, do you?
Coming up, we check in with Cameron Darcy, who is here to give us an update on Eastern athletics. Don't go anywhere.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
But I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Thanks for sticking with us. Let's hear what's going on around Eastern sports. Cam?
Go. Thanks, guys. I'm down here on the sideline in Geisler Gymnasium where the Warriors have less than a minute left in this matchup against Castleton University in their LEC semifinal matchup. Now, they've been playing well all game. The score is 57-45. The Warriors are in the lead. And if they win this, they're going to host on Saturday in the finals against Rhode Island College. So the men's team is also playing right now, and they're away over at Keene. They're going, thanks to their win last week against UMass Boston, that was a close one, but the Warriors fought it out. And if they can win tonight, there's also a possibility of them hosting the final on Saturday. This is the 13th year in a row that they have made the LEC semifinals, so that's quite an accomplishment to make for the team. Saturday is the final, so stay tuned for both of those games. You might be able to catch the end of those games after this broadcast. Track now finished up their winter season this past week, and they placed third overall at their LEC championship meet. So congrats to them for a great season and a lot of personal bests along with that. Qualifiers will continue to compete this weekend in Boston at the NCAA New England Championships. Swim also finished their season last week, finishing third as well, thanks to a lot of first-place finishes in their LEC championship meet in many events, individual and relays. And there was a lot of broken records this season for the swim team, so that's a great way to finish as well. Now, with those sports wrapping up, spring sports has been getting ready. So, in fact, the baseball team is on the road right now, heading to Virginia Beach for their first game of the season. They have a lot of buzz around them as being the national champs, the reigning national champs. So, under a new head coach, it's going to be exciting to see how their season kicks off. Softball is also getting started this weekend, and men's lax has their first game on Monday. So spring sports right now are right around the corner, and make sure you stay tuned with all of that content that's coming up. You can keep up with all of that by following our social media at ECSU Athletics, and our streams, as always, are powered by Sidearm Sports and Blue Frame Technology. Again, I'm Cameron Darcy. That's going to be it for me. I'm going to catch the rest of this game. Kaylee, Nick, back to you in the studio.
Thank you for the update, Cam. This concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to keep up with all of our social media platforms and, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our future broadcasts.
On behalf of Director Hannah Lasberry, producer Kaylee Roberts, and the entire ETV News staff, I'm Nicholas Walsh. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week, Eastern.